Constitution's just a ghost in chains. Freedom slipping down the drains. Rise up, break the chains. No billionaire should run the game. Lying, scheming, stealing rights. If we don't fight, we lose tonight. End of democracy comes in waves. Justice buried in shallow graves. Stand up loud, don't be the slaves. Unmake the cage, unmake the cage. Tick tock, time's running out. They're burning the laws, there ain't no doubt. Oh no, America, what you gonna do? Rights getting burned and they're coming for you.
Hello. Good grief. Can you guys hear me now? Hello. Welcome. Okay. So like I was saying, we got a hot mess express happening here in England. And what's happening right now is we are waiting for this press conference live. As you guys can see, these guys are just so entertained right now. These ladies are just having a whole conversation. It's very casual. We got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like maybe 20 people in this room, plus the guys that are standing at ease here behind waiting for JD Vance to come out. But let's talk about Greenland here for a moment. Okay, let's talk about Greenland. Oh my God, what is occurring, you guys? Because we're just gonna go. Who knows when JD Vance is coming up? We're just literally waiting. Oh, this lady's like, I gotta talk to this guy. Hey, remember last night I left some stuff over in your barracks? You gotta just put that back. Thanks so much. Okay, I'm gonna sit back down here. They've picked her to be in the front. JD Vance likes to prove how straight he is by staring at women who are not his wife. Okay, so let's go to Google Earth here. Okay. And here we are. It's planet Earth, guys. Look at it. It's so fun. You can rotate it around. Look at it. I've made a whole day. Okay. Ta-da! I'm God. All right. So here's what's happening. Here's where we are. Now, when I was a kid, this is the current satellite view of Earth. And when we would look up here, y'all, what used to be up here? What used to be up here? Does anybody remember what that used to look like up there when we were little babies back in the 80s? Fucking ice. There was ice all up there. Ice. So much ice. Where did all the motherfucking ice go? Where did the ice go? Anyway, so here's America. Okay, here's the country in question, Greenland. It's a big mofo, Greenland. Okay, it's covered with a lot of ice. If that continues to melt into our oceans, it's going to be bad news bears. It's going to change the currents. It's going to fuck a lot of shit up. And then over here, we've got, Norway, Sweden, Finland, these guys. Okay. Again, no ice. But what the fuck is right here? Okay. That's Russia. Thank you, Earth. Russia. Russia is like this big U. Okay. Trump probably took the ice. Yeah. This big U that goes from one side of the Earth to the other. It's like, a bald man's hairline that has receded and it just goes around the crown. So Russia is the biggest landmass on Earth, biggest country per landmass right there. Okay. And so look, there's Alaska. There's that little piece that we bought forever ago. Okay. And this is where, fucking, I can see Russia from my house, when she's living over here. But there used to be, let's zoom in here. There used to be a trail of islands here, the Aleutian Islands, that there's still some remnants of. Okay. that was the land bridge where human beings allegedly crossed and went into North America. There's been a lot of science to debunk that lately, but anyway, there was a bunch of islands here, as you can see, because of rising seas. Where the fuck are the islands? Okay, because they're underwater. They're underwater. Okay, so we have Alaska already, and we're just gonna fuck that place, right? But up here, let's zoom in. What is this? This is the Beaufort Sea. Okay. That it got named for some admiral or some shit. This area here, as you can see, this is Russia. Here's Greenland. Here's us. Okay. This is what Trump is freaking out about. Okay. Because Greenland, if we put strategically, let's be honest, we put military bases here. We put military bases. Oh, help me out, Google Earth. All along. No, I want to go back. Give me it back. Give me it back. Okay. All along the rim of Greenland. This here patches, that's Canada. That's Canada. We will be able to protect ourselves from Russia. Russia can get to us very easily, but now they'll be able to just take right? And Canada is supposed to be protecting all this stuff. I don't know. They probably are. Okay. But this is why Trump is so obsessed with Greenland. Okay. Now, Greenland is currently basically like an independent sort of, outpost of this teeny tiny country right here, Denmark. This little guy, somehow, forever ago, the Danes went over to this fucking desolate shit and was like, yeah, we'll do it. Now, we already do have a military base here, okay, which is where J.D. Vance is going to be holding this press conference if he ever fucking shows up, okay? And this is another bay here. This is Nova Scotia, okay? This is part of, again, Canada, this big old part, right? And then you come down. That's Newfoundland. Oh, sorry. Nova Scotia is over here. This is just another big ass rock of Canada. I apologize, Canadians. Okay. Maine is our highest point in America here. Okay. It's the tip. And then, of course, Alaska. Right. And then we have this line. And remember when Trump was like, it just looks like somebody just, like drew the line. It's just so strange how it's so straight. It doesn't make any sense. We just decided that was the end of Montana and Washington. Oh, no. Right. Okay. But he has been obsessed, y'all, obsessed with, he's speaking now. Let's go.
Here we go. USA! USA!
We're going to start the USA chant. USA! The only people that could gather that want to see J.D. Vance's face.
And everyone else for the warm reception in a very, very cold place. I think it's probably the coldest place I've ever been. But you guys managed to do a great job.
Look at this guy behind him who's like, this is not why I signed up for the Marines.
Grateful for your service, grateful for what you do up here, and just wanted me to tell you that he's proud of you and he thinks about you. And of course, the same is true for everybody that's flanking me up here. We're thrilled to be here because the mission that you guys do is so important for the United States. It's important for our national security. And today, everybody that I met, to a person, was professional, was kind, was knowledgeable, and was dedicated to our country. You're a great credit to the United States of America.
Thank you guys for being on the front line.
I met some
the battle for Greenland.
Some Floridians today, and I thought to myself, man, you guys have really signed up for tough duty.
Oh man, it's cold.
It's a beautiful place. It's a striking place, a very harsh place. The Colonel showed me around, but a very beautiful place.
It's so cold here, y'all. How do you do it?
I guess we're still, at least in Greenland, in the heart of what is winter, because winter, I guess, lasts about 9 months here in Greenland. So
that's correct,
sir.
Sir.
For following us around today and covering what we're doing. We'll take some questions from the reporters.
Yeah, the eyeliner's on point today.
I wanted to give some of my special guests an opportunity to say a few words. So
yeah,
we, of course,
I'm not good with words. I'm gonna throw it over to these guys here.
Advisor's wife, and by my wife, our second lady, Usha. And
My wife Usha
flanking me
came,
here on my
y'all.
left
She's
is
so
Chris
excited
Carter,
to be
Secretary
here.
of Energy,
People were
Mike
like,
Walter,
"Get the
National
fuck
Security
out of our
Advisor, and
country."
my dear friend Senator Mike Lee
But I
from
brought my
great
wife
state
as a
of
human
Utah,
meat shield.
who I joked earlier, I told Mike I'd give him a ride to Utah, and we ended up in Greenland. But I want to.
This guy's up here sporting his Nikes. Who the fuck is this guy?
And care about the mission of the American military here in Greenland. For various reasons,
Why are none of these
touching each
people
of the areas that they focus on,
like
I thought it'd be
literally
worth
dressed
hearing from each
as
of them for
official
a little
people?
while. So, Chris, if you would
It's
say a
literally
few
like
words
they went
about
on
the importance
vacation.
of energy. Thanks, Chris. Here we are.
I will. Echo the Vice President's comments to thank you for your service to our country, wherever it is, whatever it takes.
Blah, blah,
And
blah.
we
We're
see
cutting
right here
veterans
this
benefits.
beautiful air base in the high Arctic. What energy can do? We can make a tough high Arctic environment a beautiful place to live, a comfortable place to live. All sorts of scientific instrumentation, military
Science.
mission to monitor what's going on in the world.
We'll just
None
do
of this was
science stuff.
possible not long ago. President Trump was elected to re-energize America, to take the beauty that you've seen up here and make that a thing of pride and ambition again. Not shaming of energy, not trying to stop its growth and its
The Elon
prosperity,
dress code.
but to re-energize it. So energy makes the world a beautiful place to live. It makes us comfortable and have.
I know, I don't want to hear anything else ever out of a Republican's mouth about Zelensky not wearing a fucking suit during the time of war.
Thank you all for your service. I'm honored to be here.
I don't know who this guy is, but thanks for being here. Here comes the tech bro. Here comes the tech bro.
I guess when we flew in, it did look a little bit like Utah in the wintertime. Only there's substantial portions of this land that are always covered in ice, and it doesn't change. I really enjoyed talking to a number of you a little while ago as you were telling me that when you're deployed here for a year without your family, without your spouse, without your children. That is emblematic of so many of the
That's what
sacrifices
deployment
that so many
means.
of our armed services personnel make.
That's how deployment works, sir.
conversations with
No
our
one who's
airmen
deployed
and,
takes their
guardians
family
this
with them
afternoon reminded me
when they
of
are
the
in
fact that the American
active
people Are
deployment.
indeed in good hands.
What?
They're in your hands.
Do people not
What
know how
you
the
do
military
here
works?
Makes us safer. And when we're going about our business,
This is
our
just a
day-to-day
PR
lives
tour.
at home, we don't have to worry about the things that you worry about because you're doing it.
We
for
don't have
us.
to worry about
Thank
Greenland
you
guys
so
because
much
these guys are
for
taking
that.
care of us.
And
They're
I
on
look
it.
forward to learning more about what you do here and about the future of the United States and its interaction with this amazing land in this part of the world. Thank you.
Right. Thank God that guy explained to the military people how deployment works. Thanks, bud.
Mr. Vice President, and I just wanted to take a minute and thank you all to the airmen and women, to the guardians.
Who are these
Who
people?
are keeping us safe day in and day out. You are continuing a tradition of the U.S. military's presence in Greenland since World War II, 1951 Defense Treaty. And President Trump is absolutely serious with the Vice President and with his team about the Arctic and the security.
Well, I'm
that
glad
the
we
Arctic
finally got serious
brings
about
and
the
that you
Arctic.
bring
Now
to
it's
the
fucking
Western
gone.
Hemisphere. This is about shipping lanes. This is about
Yeah.
energy.
It's about
This is about
money.
fisheries.
Money, money, money,
and
money,
of course, it's
money.
about your mission, which is keeping us safe and
Yeah.
monitoring
It is
space, monitoring
space.
and making sure the American
Space.
people can sleep.
The
safely
final
in their
frontier.
homes day in and day out. So thank you
Like-
for roughing it. Thank you for being without
Thanks
your
for
families.
roughing it.
I bet every
Guys,
one of you are
deployment
gonna
means
pick
without your
somewhere or
family.
another
They knew that when they were signed. Look at this guy behind him with the ears. He's like, are these people for real? We stood here for an hour at ease, just standing here with our fucking Marine faces for these idiots, those fucking dumb shoes to come in here and tell us how deployment works.
I have yet to meet a veteran that says, wow, I regret my time in service.
I've met plenty of
Instead, they
veterans who've
cherish
said
it,
that. Are you
the rest of
fucking
their lives.
joking
So,
right now?
You know, appreciate this moment and this adventure.
You
want
you wanna become a
and the
member? Click
American
there,
people.
guys. Hit
Thank
the
you.
subscribe, hit the
President
like,
Trump
do all the
thanks you.
things.
And I know the Vice President.
How-
and the Second
how
Lady,
ignorant are these people
thanks
right
you
now?
As well, and it's just really an honor to be with you today. Thanks so much.
Yeah, they don't have to be there. They can just get updates on Signal.
So thank you, Mike. Let me say just a couple couple of other things.
Yeah, I got
and then
more
we'll
to
take some
say. I'm
questions
JD
from
Vance.
reporters.
I'm the
So,
guy.
Number one, I think a lot of Americans wonder, why does Greenland matter so much? Why
Yeah.
does the mission of this
Why
base
does it
matter
matter?
so much
What
to
is-
the
what the
American
fuck
people?
do we
And
care?
I learned a lot about that today myself. Of course, you can read about it in a book, but I saw it up close and personal. And if, God forbid, to my fellow Americans, if a missile was fired from an enemy country or an enemy submarine into the
Nope.
United States, it is the
There's
people
protest.
here before us
We're gonna
who
go
would
over
give
that in a minute.
notice to our brave men and women further south in the United States to let people know what was coming and, God willing, to try to shoot it down and prepare for it. That's one of the things that we do at installations like this. We know that Russia and China and other nations
Russia,
are taking an
China.
extraordinary interest
Russia,
in
China.
Arctic passageways and Arctic naval routes, and indeed in the minerals of the Arctic territories.
Yes, we
to ensure
need
that
the
America
raw
is leading
earth.
in the Arctic, because we know that if America
We want
doesn't,
it.
other nations will fill the gap where we fall behind. So what you guys do is so critically important. I think a lot of Americans, certainly I, didn't realize it fully until President Trump started talking about the importance of our Arctic
Until he started
mission,
telling me how much
about
money I could
building
make
upon
in
it,
early
and ensuring
investments
that America can
in
lead in the Arctic for the
Greenland
next
Arctic
generation.
mining,
And now I want to talk about, of
rare
course,
earth minerals.
the interaction and what Denmark, I think, has
Uh-oh.
done, and sometimes in partnership with us, but let's be honest, what Denmark over the last 20 years
Are we
has
going to
failed
war with
to do in some
Denmark
cases,
now?
because we
Give me a
know
break.
that unfortunately this place, this base, the surrounding area
Hey,
is
Rachel.
less secure than
Thanks
it
for becoming a
was
member.
30, 40 years ago, because some of our allies haven't kept up. As
Yes, you
China
click
and
that link.
Russia have taken
Click it.
greater and greater interest in
Oh, that's the
Greenland
wrong
and
link.
this base and the activities of the brave Americans right here, we know that too
That one.
often our allies in Europe have not kept pace. They haven't kept pace with military spending, and Denmark has not kept pace in devoting the resources necessary to keep this base, to keep our troops, and in my view, to keep the people of Greenland safe from a lot of very aggressive incursions from Russia, from China, and from other nations. Now, President Trump, as he says all the time, and as a lot of people recognize, is a president of peace. We want to have good relationships with everybody.
He is
That
not a
includes
president of
even,
peace.
to the extent possible, the Chinese and the Russians. But part of having good relations is showing your strength when you have to. And unfortunately, the story of Greenland over the past 20 years when it comes to security is that we've underinvested in the infrastructure, we've underinvested in the security architecture, and we've underinvested in the brave men and women who are doing a very hard job, as Mike said, to keep all of us safe. That has to change. Now, when I pointed out a couple of weeks ago that in some ways, with all due respect to our Danish allies, they had not kept pace, there was a lot of criticism from Denmark, a lot of attacks at the Trump administration.
Attacks
at the
from
president,
Denmark
at
saying,
me,
"I'm sorry,
at
sir,
others in
it's
our
not for
administration
sale."
For saying the obvious, which is that Denmark hasn't done a good job at keeping Greenland safe. And one
What?
of the things I heard was, well, what about the many Danes who lost their lives in the War on Terror fighting alongside the United States? Well, look, we obviously honor the sacrifice of our Danish friends in
Excuse
the War
me?
on Terror 20 years ago.
No
just
one
as,
is
for
threatening
example, the
Greenland,
French
sir,
honored the
except for
sacrifice
Trump.
of Americans in Normandy 80 years ago. But recognizing that there are important security partnerships in the past does not mean that we can't have disagreements with allies in the present about how to preserve our shared security for the future. And that's what this is about. There is no amount of bullying, no amount of obfuscating, no amount of confusing the issue. Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland.
Oh my
You have underinvested
God.
in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled
The
with incredible
security
people.
architecture.
That has to change. And because
The
it has to
security
change, this is why
architecture.
President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is. It's consistent with the first Trump administration, where you saw significant investments in Arctic security, and it will continue over the next 4
Arctic
years under
security.
President Trump's
Are we going to have
leadership.
an
And let me
Arctic force
finally,
now? We have
before I kick
Space
it over to the
Force.
media,
We have the
make
Air
one
Force.
comment about the
We're
people
going to have
of Greenland.
Arctic force now?
The colonel here, the base commander, who came here first as a second lieutenant, and I guess, Colonel, this is your second duty station here, and we're proud of you and proud of all of you guys who are serving and helping keep us safe. You know, I heard a lot about the respect that our American troops show for the local Greenlandic population, the way that we make and create shelter for hunters and dog slitters, the way that we found ways to turn over traditional tribal land to some of the local populations in order to ensure
how
that
we
they're able
committed
to live in
what we
accordance
do
with their
here, the
values.
usurping
We
of
respect, as the
an
President
indigenous
said in his
population
State of the Union
and
address,
shoving them
we
out for
respect
white
the
people.
self-determination of Greenlanders, excuse me.
Yeah,
We
Greenlanders.
believe in the self-determination of the population of the people of Greenland. And our argument is very simple. It is not with the people of Greenland, who I think are incredible
Okay.
and have
Who don't want you there, have been
opportunity
protesting
here.
you for
Our
days.
argument
Okay.
really is with the leadership of Denmark, which is under
So we're gonna go to war with Denmark, guys.
in its security architecture. That simply must change. It is the policy of the United States that will change.
It's the second
And I'm
time today that we
proud to be
threatened
able
a
to stand
country
here with so many brave
in
Americans
less
to
than-
better
in less
understand
than
the
5
security
hours.
mission
Second
and better
time.
understand what you guys do each and every day. For that, I'm grateful for your service. I'm even more grateful. I love you guys. I'm proud of you guys. And President Trump stands behind you and will for the remainder of his administration. Thank you all. God bless you.
Yeah. God bless you. He's going to take questions.
All right, now we'll take a few questions.
I thought so too, Donna, but you know.
Red scarf, go first.
Okay, sure.
Red scarf.
President. Do you have any plans, are there plans to expand the U.S.'s military presence in Greenland beyond this base?
Well, are there immediate plans to expand our military presence? No, but are there general objectives that we want to accomplish that will certainly require us investing more resources, investing in additional military icebreakers, investing in additional naval ships that will have a greater presence in Greenland? Absolutely.
No.
And we know that's
This is
necessary
awful.
because we know, as Mike talked about, and certainly I talked about, there has been
Who's
an
Mike?
expansion of the security footprint and the security interest of Russia and China. They're doing what they believe is in
I
their
hope they
interest.
do.
The United States must do what I know is in our interest, which is to make sure that Greenland is safe. If Greenland doesn't have
No one is
self-determination,
threatening
if the people of
Greenland.
have their future controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, it's not going to make their lives better off, and most importantly, it's going to make
When
American
has
and
China
world
or
national
Russia
security,
threatened Greenland?
World security much, much weaker. We can't. We in some ways need to wake up. We need to wake up from a failed 40-year consensus that said that we could ignore the encroachment of powerful countries as they expand their ambitions. We can't just bury our head in the
We gotta
sand.
go back to
or in Greenland,
colonialism.
bury our head in the
Okay,
snow
we're
and
colonists
pretend
again. We're gonna
that the
colonize
Chinese
Greenland.
are not interested in this very large landmass. We know that they are. They've taken steps to put Greenland in ridiculous debt traps to invest and exploit the resources
Debt
here.
traps.
And we know that they're sending a lot of military resources here. Yes, over the medium term, the United States will meet that challenge.
Who's
We will
sending
put our own
military resources
here.
to
We
Greenland
already have a lot
besides
of
the United
great
States?
resources
Where
here,
are they?
but we know
Because you
we're
saw
gonna
a
have to
ship
do
in the
more to
ocean.
counter some of
They're
our,
they're
some
now
of the nations
invading
that we
Greenland.
know that we're competitive with. Sure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President.
Oh,
And the
that's
president
Mike
said
Waltz.
today that
Signal
we have
dipshit.
to have Greenland. By being here today, are you also conveying that message that the U.S. is
Yeah,
very
Rudy.
serious in its desire to acquire Greenland?
Well, the president said we have to have Greenland, and I think that we do have to be more serious about the security of Greenland. We can't just ignore this place. We can't just ignore the president's desires, but most
We
importantly,
can't ignore the
we can't
president's
ignore what I
desires.
said earlier, which is the Russian
That's the
and
quote of
Chinese
this fucking
encroachment
press
in
conference.
Greenland. We have to do more. And what the president said in his State of the Union address, and he was very clear about this, is we respect the self-determination of the people of Greenland, but my argument again to them is I think that you'd be a lot better coming under the United States security
No.
umbrella than you have been under Denmark's security umbrella. Because what Denmark's security umbrella has meant is effectively they've passed it all off to brave Americans and hoped that we would pick up the tab. We're simply saying to the people
So
of
now we're
Greenland,
going
when
to
the
cash
president
in a
says we've
debt
gotta
that's
have
an
Greenland,
imaginary
he's
debt to
saying
Greenland.
this island
When
is
they
not
allowed
safe.
us to have
A
military
lot of people are
bases
interested
on
in it.
land
A
that
lot of
is
people are
technically
making a
theirs
play.
that they've
We know that
been
America
renting or
cares
whatever
about
the fuck their agreement is
security of this
with the
island
Greenlanders.
for the
And so
people-
now
for the
they
sake of the
owe
people of
us.
Greenland, but also for the sake of
This
the
is
national
Trump
security
math, y'all.
interests of the United States of America. So our message is very simple. Yes, the people of Greenland are going to have self-determination. We hope that they choose to partner with the United States because we're the only nation on
We
earth
hope that they
will
choose it, or else
respect their
what?
sovereignty and respect their security, because their security is very much our security as these brave
What's going
Americans
to happen
should.
if the Greenlanders say, go fuck yourself, which is what they're saying?
John Parkinson with ABC News. Thanks for bringing us along on this historic trip.
Yeah, John.
I wanted to ask you about last week's news with the Atlantic. We've had a couple questions on Greenland. I feel like you've answered that. But
Here we go.
I did want to ask, did you express your concerns to the president that you were opposed to the Houthi strike? And also, what did you mean when you asked, or when you said in that thread that the president wasn't aware that his directions for Yemen were inconsistent with his message on
Uh-oh.
Well, I didn't quite say that. I think that's a slight bit misunderstanding of what I said, but we've
It's in
talked,
writing.
of course, in the American media about Signalgate, as I called it, for the past week. And here's what I told the president and the entire national security team, is that yes, it is in the interest of the United States of America to preserve navigation. Yes, it is in the interest of the United States to kill terrorists who are preventing navigation in the Red Sea.
Yeah.
But we got to make sure that we do it right. We have to be careful. We have to make sure the timing is right.
Yeah.
And of course, what that leak revealed, I think, is a private communication between the president's senior advisors about how best to prepare the American people for what we all thought we had to do. About the right timing of when we should do something. And of course, surfacing the strategic questions that we needed to decide and brief the president on, so that he could ultimately make the decision about what we would do. What I saw in that signal chat, and of course what I've seen in the president's senior national security team, is that sometimes we all agree and sometimes we all disagree, but it's important that we all have an honest
Could you take
conversation
Oregon
amongst
also?
ourselves and with the President of the United States about what we think is the best interest of the national security of the United States of America. I support the President's decision to strike the Houthis. I always supported the President's decision to strike the Houthis, and I support the national security team having the argument about how best to serve the American people. Good.
He didn't answer
In
it.
your security briefing today, did you see specific threats coming from China and Russia, things that you did not know about before? Are we talking battleships, icebreakers, any type of military equipment, or is it economic?
Well, I don't want to get too specific, but
we'll
yes,
just
we
put it in
know
the signal
that the
chat.
Chinese are very, very interested in this island. We've seen some of the economic pressures that they've tried to place on Greenland. We know that they're increasingly engaging in military training and military interest. Certainly, they've started to describe themselves as a near Arctic power. And I think part of that is justifying taking a further interest in Greenland and some of the surrounding territories. So we've seen very strong evidence that both the Chinese and the Russians are interested in Greenland. And why wouldn't they be interested in Greenland? It's a beautiful place. It has incredible people. It has its geographic placement makes it very important for the national security of the United States, but for world security. What we have to recognize is that if the Chinese and the Russians are going to pursue their national interest, we need a president who's going to pursue the American national interest, and that means ensuring that Greenland is safe.
When can we expect an update on the internal investigation into that signal chat leak?
Yeah.
Has that investigation concluded, and what are the findings?
I think we'll get an update soon. Look, we take it very seriously. We all
Thank
accept
you, Olson.
that a journalist should not have been excited.
Thank you, Olson.
And
Thank you
members
for
of the
this.
administration, including my dear friend Mike, have taken responsibility for it. But I find the American media's obsession with this issue very, very interesting.
It's not an
I have to
obsession.
remember about
You
4
claim
years
that we're
ago,
secure,
when
that
American
didn't matter,
military
and you
leadership
fucking leaked
made
top
a
secret shit.
catastrophic error that got 13 innocent Americans killed in Afghanistan and had about $80 billion of military equipment turned over to one of the worst terrorist organizations in the world. And for years, the American media ran cover for a Biden administration that refused to fire any generals or even launch an internal investigation that was meaningful and substantive about what happened. And now, the same American media
Biden's
that
problem.
covered for the Biden administration after the untimely death and the unnecessary death of 13 brave Americans is really, really interested in forcing the President of the United States to fire someone because of a signal chat.
Yes, he should be fired. You leaked
honest behavior from the American media.
information.
And if you think you're going to force the President of the United States to fire anybody, you've got another thing coming. President Trump has said it on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, and I'm the Vice President saying it here on Friday. We are standing behind our entire national security team.
Can I just ask you about
Yeah, go ahead.
the tariffs. There's been some retaliation, some signals at least in the media that Canada is going to respond. Some of these others are going to respond to the president's tariffs. What's your message for Americans that are going to see costs increase on auto manufacturing, new cars, that kind of thing? Is it Buy America, or what's the message going forward there?
Well, let me say a couple of things. First of all, for the Canadians, and we have many dear friends in Canada, and of course we love the Canadian people, but the Canadian leadership threatening retaliatory tariffs against the United States, as President Trump often says, they just don't have the cards. There is no way that Canada can win a trade war with the United States. What President Trump has said is that he wants to level the playing field. For decades, Canadian leadership has forced American farmers and American manufacturers.
Oh, here we
to
go.
play
Now
by
it's
an unfair
Canada's
set of
fault.
rules. All President Trump has said is that we're done playing by an unfair set of rules. If you're going to do something to our industries, then we're going to do something back to your industries. That's how you protect American manufacturing, and that's how you protect American jobs. Now, what I'd say to the American people is look, the president ran on this, and he said very clearly that we're done being the piggy bank of the entire world. For 40 years,
We're
in the
done
same way
being
that our
the-
European friends, I think,
We're
neglected
done being the piggy bank.
international security. For 40 years,
Right.
a lot
So
of
why
our
would you
friends
get
all over the
dishonorably
world have used
discharged from the
America as a
Navy,
piggy bank.
but
They have
fucking,
used us to
Drunky
absorb all of their
McDrunkerson gets to
excess
stay
economic production. What does that
in
mean
his
for
job? It
Americans?
doesn't even make
For
any
Americans,
sense.
that's meant
Yes,
manufacturing
please
jobs
subscribe.
declining. That's meant middle
Please
class
subscribe,
wages
eh?
going down. That's meant whole towns that have been hollowed out by empty factories, and that means in America that is less safe
Benny Vance
because
is
our
too good
manufacturing
at this.
isn't
He's
as powerful
too
now
good
as it was 30
at
years
the
ago. I've got all
fucking,
these brave
you know.
Americans in front of me and a few behind
Because
me
I got so
too.
hyped up about
We
this.
want to send,
I forgot
if
that I
God
have
forbid we have to
therapy
send
right
Americans
now.
to
I'm
war,
supposed to
we want
be
to
at the
have
ranch.
weapons, the best weapons in the
I've just
world that are
rescheduled with my
manufactured in
therapist, who's
America
amazing.
and not in China. The way you do that is to rebuild the American
Right?
manufacturing
It was
sector.
Trump's deal.
The days of America being the piggy bank of the world, the days of closed factories, the days of people not being able to get a middle class job in this country, they're over. And yes, that means we're going to have to fight back even against some of our friends and their unfair economic practices, but the long-term consequence of this is going to be higher wages, more manufacturing,
No, it
and
will
more economic
not.
security for the American people. We'll take a couple more questions.
On Russia, has the U.S. agreed to those conditions that the Kremlin said were needed for that truce in
Right?
the Black Sea? It
Thank
included,
you.
lifting
Thank you.
sanctions imposed on Russian banks. Trump said this week that you were still looking at it.
Well, there are a couple of different statements that are floating around out there, and some of them I think are mistranslations, and some of them are not totally clear what is even
Mistranslations.
being asked for. But the president has said, and he's right, that I think we feel very good about where things are. We trust but verify. We make sure that what we're
Trust but
seeing from
verify.
one party is met by the other party and vice versa. But I think that we've made an incredible amount of progress. We have to remember that this war started under Joe Biden's administration. It has led to an unbelievable amount of death and destruction. And for the first time in almost 4 years, thanks to President Trump's leadership, we have an opportunity to really
In
achieve
90
a peaceful
days?
settlement. The president's going to fight
I
every
don't
single
think
day to
so.
make sure that happens.
The
And of course,
ceasefire
we'll keep
already
you guys updated
fucking
as we continue
stopped.
to make progress. I do think if you look at what we've talked about,
Yeah.
we've obviously got this energy infrastructure ceasefire. We've got a Black Sea commercial ceasefire that I think is almost done. And once we get there, we'll work on the next stage.
I
of the
hope
ceasefire.
they do ban him.
Yeah.
The president has previously not ruled out military force when he's talking about taking over Greenland.
Uh-huh.
But your rhetoric today is more about encouraging the Greenlandic people to vote for independence. Do you think the rhetoric has changed about that, or what's your message there?
No, I don't think it's changed at all. Look, the president said clearly he doesn't think
Yeah,
the
I hear you,
military
Maya.
force is going to be necessary, but he absolutely believes that Greenland is an important part of the security, not just of the United States, but of the world, and of course the people of Greenland too. It's very simple. I think the president's been very consistent here. From the
That
State
he
of the
wants
Union,
to
from his
colonize
inaugural
the whole
address,
earth
every
and be in
public
charge of
statement he's
everything and be
made.
king of
This
earth. Yeah.
Territory, Greenland, really matters for the security of the United States. It's extremely
Yeah.
vulnerable right
Yeah.
now. And if the people of Greenland were willing to partner
They're
with the
not.
United States, and I think that they ultimately will partner
They're not.
with the United States, we could make them much more secure. We could do a
No.
lot more protection, and
No.
I think they'd fare a lot better economically as well. This
How
has to happen.
how are you
And
going to
the
make
reason it has to happen,
economics
I hate
better
to
in
say it,
Greenland
is
when
because
people
our
here
friends in
can't even get a
Denmark have
living
not done
fucking
their
wage?
job in keeping.
We have a
this area
homeless
safe.
crisis
They-
here. Are you
they
going to
just
just
haven't
ship
done
them out of
it.
Greenland?
It's very simple. For all of our friends in the American media who attack the administration for pointing out the obvious, what is
Yeah, the
alternative?
upcoming election is going to
To
be
give up the North
crazy
Atlantic,
doodles.
To give up the Arctic to China, to Russia, and to other regimes that don't have the best interest of the American people
Canada
at
already
heart. We
exists
have
in
no
the
other
Arctic.
option.
Let them
We need
handle
to
it.
take a
We don't.
significant
It's not our
position
territory.
in Greenland to keep the people here safe, but to keep our own
Yeah.
country safe.
No more Ozempic.
We'll do
We're just
do
going to be
one or two more.
fat
Yeah.
fucks
Trump said
here.
this week the U.S. would go as far as we have to go to acquire Greenland. In that same vein, that question, are there plans that have been drafted to use military force to take over Greenland?
Well, what the president has said
Oh, here we go.
is that we need to have more of a position in Greenland. We need it, again, for the safety of the American people.
No, we don't.
And what we think is going to happen
No, we don't.
is that the Greenlanders
Because
are
if
gonna
Trump would
choose
stop
through
threatening countries with
self-determination
nuclear
to become
weapons
independent
by
of Denmark,
saying bad things are
and
going to
then we're
happen to
gonna
them,
have
we wouldn't
conversations
need
with
all
people
this
of Greenland from there.
protection.
So I think that talking about anything too far in the future is way too premature. We do not think
Yeah,
that military
exactly, Maya.
force is ever going to be necessary. We think this makes sense. And because we think the people
Oh,
of
they're not.
Greenland are rational and good, we think we're going to be able to cut a deal, Donald Trump style, to ensure the security
Shame.
of this territory, but also the United States of America. I'll do one more question.
One more question.
And you spoke about economic interests, how the U.S. could develop Greenland more economically. Could you speak a little bit more about
Yeah.
that? I know Secretary Wright is here. Have you guys spoken about energy? Senator Lee is here as well. Just wondering what those discussions have
No,
been like.
my point actually is that other countries have explicitly gone after Greenland.
So
and
Greenland
I
has a
think with a
population
mind
of
towards
56,865 people. It's not a
Sometimes
lot of people, y'all.
asking Greenland
And they
to
literally
itself
asked them
in a
all,
terrible economic
would you
debt
like to meet
trap
Usha?
That would make the people of Greenland
They're like,
not self-determined and sovereign,
don't have any
but
desire.
to mortgage their future to hostile foreign countries that don't have their best interests at heart. That is not what the United States of America wants to
Yes.
do. What we want to do is to protect the security of this territory because it matters for us and it matters for the people who live here. All right, guys, thank you all. And let me just say one more final word to the Guardians, the Airmen, the
Final
media, the
word.
service members gathered here. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, it is incredible to be a vice president who has served just as our NSA, Mike Waltz has served, to know the sacrifice that comes along with it. And
I'm
to
just
see that
proud
there
to be
are
back
still
in
incredible
room
young
full of
Americans willing to put
just
on the
gorgeous
uniform
men.
and serve this country. You make
Thank you
America
so
a
much.
better place, and you make it an honor to serve as your vice president. God bless you guys. Thanks for having me.
He's going to shake some hands. Thanks for standing up here for so long, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks so much. Yeah, bye. Boop, we're out. Okay, so let's go. Let me get that is loud in my ear. Okay, so this was earlier today. Now, this was supposed to be just Trump swearing in Alina Habba as the interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey. Okay, that's what was supposed to be happening. Let's listen in. Guys, things just keep getting wilder and wilder. We're going to go. We're going to get, we're going to full screen this bad boy and we're going to, guys, I know we got to listen to trumpety dump bump, bump, bump. So we're going to make it as good as we can here. All right, there we go. Here we go. Let's get him going.
And I want to just congratulate, along with your husband, Greg, and your children, your wonderful parents who I've gotten to know over the years. Great parents and a great family, so congratulations. And to Luke, Chloe, and Parker, that's great. You're proud, right? Of your father and your mother, right? Both. Not just your mom, right? Your father, too. He's done pretty well. He's a good guy and very successful man.
Because we can't.
Mrs. Rader, the most powerful woman in the world.
We
if you think
got
about
to
it, I guess
make
it's
sure we
true.
mention the dad.
Anyway, thank you to the Super Lawyers Rising Stars list and trying to
Blah, blah,
protect
blah.
some very, very bad people of crime. They have to stop. They have to let us do the job.
They
We're
have to
elected to
stop.
do the job. You did very well. I think a lot of that stuff has stopped. They watched and they said, who needs this, right, Pam?
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will
Trump
bear
is like
true faith
looking
and
around the
allegiance to the
room,
same.
That I will bear true
just
faith and
trying
allegiance
really
to the
hard
same.
not to look at
That
her
I take this
boobies.
obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any
be standing here today if it was not for the man to my right. If
You would be responding with large-scale tariffs. Will you be following through with that promise?
Okay, so this is the part we want to get to. So this is the question and answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Mr. President, Canada's Prime Minister says that they will be implementing retaliatory tariffs. You said if that were to happen, that you would be responding with large-scale tariffs. Will you be following through with that promise?
Well, absolutely, but we had a very good conversation. Mark called me today at 10 o'clock. We put out a statement. We had a very, very good talk. He's going through an election now, and we'll see what happens. But we have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd. Because, and I'm not referring to Canada, but many countries have taken advantage of us,
There you
the likes
go.
of which nobody even thought was possible for many, many decades. For decades.
Good job,
that has
Donna.
to stop. We're going to end up with a very good relationship with Canada and a lot of the other countries. Some we probably won't. It won't be so pleasant. But I think most countries are agreeing with me. They actually, many of them have actually apologized. They said, look, we have taken advantage. And
Right.
I don't blame them as much as I blame the people that stood. In this case, I can say the men, because so far they've been all men, haven't they? But the men that sat right there and behind the Resolute desk, mostly the Resolute desk, you know. I don't know if you know, you have a choice of 7 desks. The Resolute is the one I like, but some chose other ones. But they sat right behind a desk right in this location, and they let our country be hurt very badly. But I didn't do that. But we had a very good talk, the Prime Minister and myself, and I think things are going to work out very well between Canada and the United States. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, how are the talks with India on tariff going on, and what is the expectation from India? How much do you want?
Well, as you know, Prime Minister Modi was here just recently, and we've always been very good friends.
Talking to India
India
now.
is one of the highest tariffing nations in the world. You know that. I know. Thank you for shaking your head, but it's brutal. It's brutal. They're very smart, and he's a very smart man and a great friend of
He
mine.
went
actually.
with
we
definitely
had
full Cheeto
very good
today.
talks. I think it's going to work out very well between India and our country. Very, very well. And I want to say you have a
What's
great
up,
Prime Minister.
Joe?
Mr. President, there's been a very serious earthquake in Burma, Myanmar
Yes.
today. It's, up to several hundred killed. The military regime there has asked to help.
700
anybody.
injured,
We're gonna be
almost
helping.
200
We've already
killed.
alerted the people. Yeah, it's terrible what's happened. It's helping. We've already spoken with the country. Okay, please.
Mr. President,
Yeah,
Mr. President,
Myanmar
yesterday
is the
Representative
country.
Park stayed in her seat. Can you explain the reasons for that? Did it have anything to do with the tight polling in the Florida district that former Representative Waltz held?
Well, I think we're doing, I think we had, as you know, we have a few elections going on.
Yeah.
And she is phenomenal, number one. She is a friend of mine, and she was going to go to the United Nations, and I said, look, there's a lot of room for doing that or something else, but she's very popular in her district, and I didn't want to take a chance. I don't even know who else is running. I assume somebody else would have been running, but if she runs, she can't be, you never want to say can't be beaten, but I think can't be beaten. She's very, very well-liked and very smart. And
I
I said,
love it.
at least would you do me a favor? We cannot take a chance. We have a slim margin. We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to experiment. And she polls like I do. I won her district, as you know, by a lot of points. And she also does very well there. When it comes to Florida, you have 2 races, and
Yeah, he
they
didn't
seem
like
to be
Justin
good.
Trudeau. Called
It's
him
the Trump
governor.
plus 32 area. The one thing is they're spending like $12 million, and our candidate doesn't have that kind of money, spending much less than that, like maybe 1/12, about $1 million, a little bit more
Why
than $1
don't you
million.
give her
So
some
the
out of all the
airwaves are
coffers that
blanketed.
people
And you never know
donating
what
to
happens
you
in
for a
case like
campaign that
I
doesn't
won it by
exist,
32
sir?
points, and it's very, very strong. It used to be Democrat, but when I came along, they liked me for whatever reason. You'll have to
When I
explain
came
that, but they liked me.
along.
We're way up, but you
Way
don't know
up.
what happened. Second district, who seems to be in pretty good shape, but likewise, he's being outspent about 5-1. So we don't want to take any chances. So I went to Elise and I said, Elise, do you mind? Very highly rated person, you know, she was a real leader, and she will be again. I spoke with Mike Johnson. They're going to put her in a high leadership position. But will you mind staying in Congress? Because we don't want to take any chances.
Yeah,
And,
she
it's
was
as simple as that. It's
supposed to
basic
come
politics.
into the
It's politics
administration,
101. She's
and
very
now he's
popular.
asked
She's
her
gonna
to
win.
stay in
And somebody else will
Congress.
probably win too, because we did very well there. I did very well there, but the word probably is no good. So I really appreciate her doing it. She's doing me a big favor when she does it, because she was all set to go to the United Nations, and she would have dealt with Putin and Zelensky and everybody else, and she would have been very effective. But
She's not going to be the UN
we don't wanna take
ambassador
any chances
anymore.
because
She's
of
going to
this
stay in Congress because they're about to lose that seat.
Thank you, sir. You and your team apprehended a top 3 leader in the violent gang, MS-13, yesterday, just 30 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. What has made you and your team so effective in finding, locating, apprehending, and deporting these violent, illegal migrants?
I love this guy.
I love this
I wish
guy.
more people would ask questions like that. But thank you. That's very nice of you.
Violence.
And they happen. All you're doing is being fair with when you ask a question in that way. Pam
That's
Bondi
not
and
being
Cash
fair.
Patel and all of the rest of law enforcement. I think we have to include ICE
Can't
and Border
move the Cheeto,
Patrol.
Donna.
You know,
I
Paul,
can't.
Border, the
It
whole
just-
group from Border Patrol. They're so
the way the
incredible.
graphics
And
work,
it's,
I
dangerous
can't
stuff,
move
hard
it.
stuff. And it's really an unforced error, because these people were allowed into this country. They shouldn't have been in this country. They would have never been in this country. We're getting rid of some of the worst criminals in the world. They came out of jails and mental institutions from all over the world. But Pam and the whole group, and Cash, who's here, and it's so good to have him. I see him all over. He's working 24 hours a day, but the job they've done is incredible. And they caught one of the worst criminals in the world, I guess, in terms of evilness. You don't get any worse than the MS-13 guys and the Tren de Aragua guys. It's you could flip a coin. It's a rough group. And, you know, the big thing is they have to be able to do their job.
There you go, Kathy.
I was watching it on television like you, and I saw the home that he lived in a good area, but boy, they had a lot of weaponry in there, right? Highly sophisticated, really brutal stuff. So I appreciate the
Yep.
question, and I just want to thank Cash and Pam and the whole group for doing a fantastic, and the
Yep,
local law enforcement
Erica.
who's been so terrific, even first responders. So I want to thank everybody, and thank you very much.
Mr. President, I want to say, first of all, happy Women's Month. You do so much for women by, first of all, keeping men out of women's sports, and you platform so many.
That was an easy one.
You platform so many great
Barf.
women, like your Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. You also have Caroline Levitt doing a great job as Press Secretary. Now Alina will be joining as well. Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman, and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man. I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success, and a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous
It was
and very
just
unfair
so
to women
awful,
and very
guys.
demeaning to women.
It was happening
and that's
everywhere.
got to be about a 94%. I read today it was a 94% issue, and I watched
decent
the other day. I watched
professional
Congressman,
women's
Democrat
sports.
Congressman
But
fighting
let's
for the
make
fact
an
that
issue
men should be
that
allowed to
wasn't a
compete
fucking
essentially
issue.
in women's sports. And I say, I hope they keep that going because they'll
I
never win
hope
another
they keep
election.
that
That's a big deal.
going.
But women are basically
They're
incredible
really-
people, do so much for
women
our country,
are just
and we love,
wonderful.
we love our
I
women, and
love
we're
how
going to take
you
care of our
can
women.
grab them
Yeah.
by the pussy.
What
Let you
was your reason for
when you're a
pardoning Trevor
celebrity.
Milton?
Highly recommended by many people. That was taken advantage of. He did a business deal like in Utah, as I have it, and I think he was exonerated, and then they brought him into New York. We had a rough road. I mean, he was exonerated. It was a big celebration. Again, I don't know him, but they say it was very unfair, and they say the thing that he did wrong was he was one of the first people that supported a gentleman named Donald Trump for president. He supported Trump. He liked Trump. I didn't know him, but he liked him. It was in Utah, and they went after him. They went after his family. They went after his businesses, and he was, I believe, exonerated.
Let's
and
all
then they went after him
breathe.
again, and they brought him this time
Let's
into
all
Manhattan.
breathe.
And he had nothing to do with Manhattan, and they got him. And I said, that's unfair. There are many people like that. They support Trump, and they went after him.
Yeah.
You don't realize this is a vicious group of
support
people that
Trump
were in
and
this
they go
office before
after
us.
him.
This is a
That's
vicious
unfair.
group. They're
Unfair.
violent. What they were doing to people, and you could go story after hundreds and even thousands of stories.
Thousands of
and they went after
stories.
this man.
We can't tell
and
you
when I
exact
heard about it, I
details
said,
of, but they're
nope,
there.
not going to happen. They persecuted. They destroyed 5 years of his
If
life.
you're against
Went
Trump,
for 5 years of his life. and
You
he did
could be
nothing
just
wrong. And he's
sucked
a
up
good
off the
person. And
street if you have
basically, I had these
tattoos,
fantastic
because we'll say,
recommendations,
hey,
about
those
him
are gang
from people
tattoos.
that you know very well.
El
All top-of-the-line people.
Salvador.
They thought it was a horrible thing. There were
Guys,
many
I
such
have a lot of
cases, by the way,
tattoos.
many such cases.
And I'm very vocally against
$5
Trump.
now, they wanna
Do
Please
you
go ahead.
think they would try to do that to
Have
me?
you spoken with
I
Vladimir
think
Putin about
so.
buying weapons from Iran and from North Korea?
Not about specifically that. No, I haven't.
Well, that seems to be an
No.
issue that you want to make important. Is
Well, I'm making all issues important. You got a lot of important issues. You also have the children issue that's important. You know, so a lot of children are living in Russia right now. That's a horrible situation that would have never taken place if and the country is being decimated. But, you know, they're losing 2,500 on average young men, mostly men, almost in all cases men actually, but young men every single week, 2,500. And they're not from our country. They're from Ukraine and they're from Russia. But it's human lives. And if we can get it stopped, then I think we're making progress. But there's a lot of ill will between the parties.
Should Americans buy cars now if they want to avoid higher prices? And then just a
No, I don't think so. I think you're going to have a country that's going to boom. I just spoke to Tim Cook of Apple. He's investing $500 billion in the United States, which he would have never, he told me, I would never have done it if you lost the election, and I would have never done it if there wasn't a tariff system that is an incentive for people to come. And remember, there are no tariffs. All you have to do is do your work right here. If you have your company here, if you build your product, make your car, or whatever it is you're making, no tariffs. And we're going to have, I think, Scott, I would say we're close to $4 trillion, even going close to $5 trillion. Now, we haven't had that for years. If you add up years, they haven't invested like that. And here we are in 2 months. We think we're up to close to $5 trillion of investment. They're going to build car plants. They're already building. Many of them have already started. And if you build a car in the United States, and one thing that I just spoke with John Thune about, I just spoke to Mike Johnson about, Speaker, we're going to do something that has never been done in this country before. I'm very proud to say it was my idea. And so sometimes a simple idea, they say, how'd you think of that one? It's so simple. It was never done. If you buy a car in the United States that's made in the United States, if it's manufactured here, when you borrow money, if you borrow money, you have interest payments, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment for income tax reasons. And I think that's going to more than pay for itself. I think people are going to be, they've never had a deduction. You know, deductions are supposed to be for like rich people.
Babbling
it's unfair
about?
to have that, but rich people are, I think I know more about deductions than any human being on earth.
Of course you
the
do,
truth
because
is
you
that,
take illegal
people that are
deductions all the
middle-income
time.
People that buy a car and actually have to borrow money, they're going to now get an interest deduction on their car if it's made in the United States. If it's made someplace else, that won't take place. But car companies, as you know, are already expanding and building new plants. They've already started. And I think you're going to see numbers. Howard, you're seeing it. And Scott, you're seeing it. You're going to see numbers the
Joe,
likes
get
of
in
which
the
you've
right
never seen
headspace,
before.
baby.
Please go.
Have a great day.
The Vice President is in Greenland right now. Do you have plans to expand U.S. military presence in Greenland? Is that
We get along very well with Greenland. We get along very well with Denmark.
Get
We
along
always
very
have-
well.
Denmark does a lot of business in the United States. We don't do so much there, but they do a lot of business in the United States. And I think they want to see, I think everybody wants to see that work out. We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't. If you look at Greenland right now, if you look at the waterways, you have Chinese and Russian ships all over the place. And we're not going to be able to do that. We're not relying on Denmark or anybody else to take care of that situation.
They're all
and
over
we're not
the
talking
place,
about,
guys.
Peace for the United States. We're talking about world peace. We're talking about international
World
security.
peace.
And right now, you look at it, you have warships all over the place
Here
going
we
through
go.
right along Greenland. We're not going to let that happen. We cannot let that happen. Or if it's going to happen, we have to be protective of our country. And more important, really protection not only of our country, of the world. So Greenland is very important. And modern day weaponry makes Greenland 100 years ago less so. But also,
Would you like to visit Greenland?
if you notice, also some of those, you could call them roadways, okay? They're water roadways, but some of those areas are opening up, and they're opening up. Icebreakers out there, they're opening up, and by just nature, they're opening up, and they're headed right into China, right into Russia, and we have no choice. The answer is he's there with his wonderful wife, Usha. They're there right now. They landed a couple of hours ago, and they will represent us well. But Greenland's very important for the peace of the world, not us, the peace of the entire world. And I
Why
think Denmark
would the peace
understands
of
it. I
the
think the
world
European
be
Union
at
understands
threat
it.
right now, sir?
And if they don't, we're going to have to explain it to them.
Would you like to visit? Would you like to visit Greenland?
Iranian drones are
President?
attacking
Thank you,
Ukraine every
President.
day.
That's it.
Iranian drones are attacking and killing Ukrainians every day. Why aren't you doing something about that?
Well, we're going to see what happens with that. I'm getting reports on that, and we're looking at a report. You're right. They make a lot of drones. Iran makes a lot of drones. They make very effective drones.
Okay, so the question, this is a very important one. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to remove the Cheeto. I know we all need the Cheeto in our life right now because it just makes it easier to look at this stupid man. But I really want you to hear his answer. I'm going to slow him down and we're going to rewind it a little bit because this is the most important question that was asked that had nothing to do with the swearing in of this woman. Okay, we're going to, where are we at? 2754. We got to go back just a little bit. Okay, listen to the question. I'm going to turn on the closed captioning. All right, here we go.
And if they don't, we're going to have to explain it to them.
Would you like to visit? Would you like to visit Greenland?
Iranian
Mr.
drones are
President?
attacking
Thank you, Mr.
Ukraine every
President.
day.
That's it.
Iranian drones are attacking and killing Ukrainians every day.
Iranian drones are attacking and killing Ukrainians every day. Look at his face. He's like, okay, listen to the rest.
Why aren't you doing something about that?
Well, we're going to see what happens with that. I'm getting reports on that, and we're looking at a report. You're right. They
We're going to see what happens with that. Wait, it gets worse.
make a lot of drones. Iran makes a lot of drones. They make very effective drones, too. They do very effectively at some things, but Iran is very high on my list of things to watch.
Iran is very high on my list of things to watch, but wait, it gets worse.
And as you probably know, I sent them a letter just recently.
He wrote him a letter, guys. You know what happens when Trump writes a letter, right? Trump wrote a letter.
And I said, you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other.
So what does that sound like to you? If I say I wrote somebody a letter and in the letter it said, you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. Is that a threat? Or is that just like a, hey, you know, what's up? No, he threatened Iran in this letter is what he's telling us, but it gets worse.
And we're going to either have to talk and talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran.
We're either going to have to talk and talk things out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran. I'm sorry. What? We're going to have to talk and talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran. Guys, this was literally an hour ago. He made a threat to Iran. While JD is in fucking Greenland getting booed like a motherfucker, like the worst comedian on stage, also threatening Greenland and Denmark. Is that why we need Greenland? Because we're threatening Iran? So we're going to just use Greenland as our, you know, Arctic force headquarters to fuck their shit up? I mean, like, guys, it's not even noon. It's not even noon here in Oregon. And we have two threats to sovereign nations, one that is a nuclear power, the other that's a gigantic block of, untapped, unfettered resources that is constitutionally independent. What the fuck are we doing? How desperately does he want to push that button, guys? He wants World War III. I mean, I'm just going to say it. This man is trying to annihilate planet Earth. He doesn't give any fucks. Okay? He's busy getting his face painted, Cheeto red, and then coming on here and threatening major nuclear powers, who, by the way, are bombing the shit out of Ukraine right now. All they gotta do is turn it. And now it comes to America. Hello?
And I don't want that to happen.
He doesn't want it to happen, but what?
Big preference, and I don't say this with strength.
I have a big preference.
Or weakness. My big preference is we work it out with Iran. But if we don't work it out, bad things are going to happen to Iran.
He doubled down on it. Doubled down on it.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
So after he doubles down on a bad thing happening to Iran, he just fucking walks out. Just exit stage left. Okay. Let's go back to Google Earth here for a minute. Okay, let's go down here. This is, of course, the Middle East, where I'm circling here, okay? This is Lebanon. This is Damascus. This is Syria, okay? Here is Israel, okay? Very contested land. This is the tiny fucking strip of land. You guys can't see anything, god damn it. This is the tiny strip of land here in all of this shit that Israel's already taken from Jordan, from fucking Palestine, from everywhere else, okay? This one last little fucking strip of beaches. You know what they had there, guys? You know what they had when you zoom in? Okay, look it. There's a marine park. That's gone probably. This was a resort. Okay, here's a little thing. There was restaurants. There was life here. There was life here. Okay? Netanyahu, who's over here, keeps bombing the shit out of these people here. So now, instead of fixing this, which hasn't been fixed for thousands of years, let's be honest, it's really not our job to fix it. Let's go to Iran. Okay, so Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. Over here is Pakistan. Okay, here's Baghdad. Here's Iraq. All right, let's. There's Saudi Arabia. Here's our homies with all the fucking desert and shit. Okay, here's Iran. Okay, Iran is right in the middle of all of the shit. There's Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, which used to be part of what? Russia. Russia. This used to all be Russia down to here. Okay. Right? This little part broke off from Afghanistan a while ago. Kyrgyzstan. Okay. Okay. Then you have the big mountain range here. This is still Russia. Okay. And then we get over here to China. Okay, now, this country, right here, Iran, there's Tehran, the capital, okay? Iraq and Iran, once known as Persia, okay, if you go way back in the day. This is the cradle of civilization. This is where it all started. This is where we all came from, okay, apparently. That's historians, that's biblical, that's all the other things. We had sanctions imposed on these guys. Okay, we went to war. Oh, that's Iraq. Sorry. Okay, we went to war. We put these guys under lock and key. We didn't give them the money back. The money went back. What did they do with the money? They immediately started their nuclear shit. Okay, let's be honest. So now here's Iran. Okay, let's just click on Tehran. This is the capital there. Okay. They are major traders with who in this sea here, right? This is the, where does it go? The Caspian. Okay. So the Caspian touches Russia and all these other places, right? So they have a little bit here. Iran does not have an inlet. It does not touch any ocean, right? It touches here, the Persian Gulf, and then they can, you know, get their stuff here. Okay. And then we have this little canal here for shipping. Okay. And then they can get out here into the Indian Ocean, right? And then they have to go the way Iran has to travel their shit, right? They have to go through there, down here, up here, and then out to go to trade, to like do stuff. It's very like fucked up for them, right? It's very, you know, there's Antarctica. Or they have to go all the way around the Cape of Good Hope to get over, you know, to other countries to do stuff. Okay. So they're very angry. It's hot there. It's, you know, they don't have a lot of stuff there. They have to import a lot of things, right? You can see the only green areas and stuff are like here around the coasts. Okay. So what we need to do, God damn it. What we need to do, okay, is we have to realize here's Greenland again. Okay. And over here is Iran. Now, does Iran have the capability? Right now, they are firing into here, Ukraine. That's not it's a long distance, but it's not as far a distance as firing from here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. All the way over to here, right? Or they could go the other way over India and China, right? Okay. But they'd have to go again. I think it's longer to go that way because the Pacific is the biggest ocean. I don't know that they have that capability. I don't know that they don't have that capability. Okay. But threatening Iran, who is buddies with Iraq and Saudi Arabia and Russia, makes all of this very vulnerable, even though we're supposed to be besties. Right? Now, Trump has been talking about Greenland since 2019, since his first term in office. He has been talking about Greenland. Okay? Now, this article is from NPR. Please support NPR, guys. Jesus Christ. That fucking ridiculous hearing yesterday. This is from January, okay? So President Trump discussed, who wrote this? I'm so sorry. Joe Hernandez. All credit goes to Joe. Hang on one second. I forgot my water bottle. Sorry. Good thing I have a fridge right there. Just had to drink something real quick. I don't know what happened. I'm so upset. I'm choking to death. So upset. All right. Woo! Okay, here we go. Okay, so Trump has said as far back as 2019 that he wants to buy Greenland, a massive Arctic island that is autonomous territory of Denmark. Though the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, replied at the time that Greenland is not for sale, Trump indicated on Saturday, this is January of this year, that he's still keen to make Greenland part of the United States. This was immediately after he took office. January 29th, 10 days after he took office. Okay. Was it the 29th or 26th? 26th, I'm sorry, 7 days after he took office, his first week in office, this is what he said. Okay. This is an article, again, from the 7th. This is from NPR again. Okay. Donald Trump Jr. was in Greenland on January 7th. made a whirlwind tour on the 6th. Why was he there? Even before the president was sworn in. As a tourist, he says. He was met by local supporters and a Danish newspaper even blogged the visit. So prior to Trump being sworn in on the 19th, Jr. goes to Greenland. Trump Jr. told the local media he was in Greenland for a very long personal day trip. No shopping involved. So what the fuck are you doing on this day trip? Okay. On Truth Social, this is from December 22nd last year. Okay. I'm pleased to announce Ken Howry as my choice for United States Ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. Ken is a world-renowned entrepreneur, investor, and public servant. That must have been one of the guys at the press conference today, who served our nation brilliantly during my first term as U.S. Ambassador to Sweden, where he led efforts to increase defense, security, and economic cooperation between our countries. As co-founder of PayPal, and venture capital fund, Founders Fund, Ken turned American innovation and tech leadership into a global success story. And that experience will be invaluable in representing us abroad. For purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is absolutely necessary. Ken will do a wonderful job in representing the interests of the United States. Thank you, Ken. Okay. This is back in December before he took office, right? Okay. We watched that. Okay. Let's go here. This is DW News. Actually, don't know what that stands for. DW News, journalism that's made for minds. Follow us for global news. Deutsche Welle is Germany's international broadcaster. Okay. So this is a German, this is like the English version of their German channel. Okay. Okay, got it. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Now, the US Vice President J.D. Vance has left for Greenland with his wife, Usha, on a trip that will now only be stopping at a US military base there. Their trip to the semi-autonomous Danish territory was revised after initial plans caused an uproar in both Greenland and Denmark. Leaders had called the planned visit a provocation following President Donald Trump's talk of US annexation.
Look at him.
Here's more on the reactions to that.
Greenlanders have made it clear.
Yeah.
President Trump's threats and overtures aren't welcome. An announced visit by the vice president's wife, Usha Vance, to a popular dog sled race was seen as an attempt to pile on even more pressure.
Usha couldn't even go see the dogs, guys. She couldn't even go see the dogs.
That sparked furious reactions from Greenlandic leaders, including outgoing Prime Minister Mute Beaverton. He told local media that
That's a Greenlander being outraged, guys. Look how fucking calm they are. I love these people.
very aggressive American pressure against Greenlandic society is now so serious that the level cannot be raised any higher. Denmark's Prime Minister also criticized the trip.
This is clearly not a visit that is about what Greenland needs or what Greenland wants from the outside.
So Denmark is saying, no, thank you. Greenland is saying, go fuck yourself. And Trump is like, we'll work it out.
Right now. And therefore I have to say that it's unacceptable pressure that's being put on both Greenland and Denmark in this situation. And it's a pressure that we will resist.
Yeah.
After the outcry, Vice President J.D. Vance announced he would come as well, but said
It was just supposed to be Usha, guys. She was going to go, look at me, I'm pretty, I'm a fun, lady, I'm going to come watch the dog races. It's just for me to go, come and see, just come check it out. And then, so he had to go. JD wasn't originally going to go.
that the visit would be limited to a remote U.S. military base.
Hey guys, it's J.D. Vance, the vice president, and there was so much excitement around Usha's visit to Greenland this Friday that I just...
So much excitement. The whole country voted no. We don't want to talk to her.
decided that I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself. And
this is propaganda 101. We're just going to twist it. And the only people seeing this announcement is fucking, Fox and Friends bullshit people. They think that Greenland was so pumped for Usha that JD had to hop on that, love fest.
And so I'm going to join her. I'm going to visit some of our guardians in the Space Force on the northwest coast of Greenland and also just check out what's going on with the security.
I'm going to visit our Space Force guys. Space.
There of Greenland. As you know, it's really important.
This is where the Vances are set to visit, the Beaverton Space Base. The U.S. military has been stationed there for decades, with radar arrays here forming a vital part of America's early warning system against nuclear attack during the Cold War and still today.
Okay, you see those little things, guys? They are just searching the skies for fucking missiles. This is why Trump's previous announcement, of the F-47, right, where he was like, hey, y'all, we got a new plane. It's unseeable. You can't see it. It's unseeable, right? Everyone is working on stealth technology, on cloaking, on everything that would render this station moot. It would literally be useless with the cloaking technology that is coming out now. Okay? What they have discovered, as you guys can see now, this station, these pipes and these things, all of this used to be under ice, used to be under snow, right? And what they've really noticed is that Greenland is defrosting. That is fertile, virgin land, and they want it. McDonald's wants it. Chick-fil-A wants it. All the big conglomerates, Nestle, all those guys, they want it. Why? There's water. There's minerals. There's probably gold in them hills. They want to rape this land of its natural beauty and resources. And why do they need this? Because what else is also defrosting right now, guys? What else in the world is also defrosting? I'll tell you what else. Right here. Look at all of this motherfucking green in Russia. Putin's stoked, y'all. He's fucking stoked. While he's waging war, while he's waging war on the Ukraine, let's zoom in here. Right? This is all Russia. Where's my Ukraine? Russia. Finland. Where did Ukraine go? Why is Ukraine disappeared? Is that on the other side? I don't think so. Guys, where did Ukraine go? They just took it off the map. It doesn't exist anymore. There's St. Petersburg, Estonia, Finland. Where the hell is Ukraine? Why can't I find it? Guys, this is embarrassing. Look in the Black Sea. Okay. Okay. For some reason, guys, my geography was way off. And I was thinking, I'll be honest with you. Here's Ukraine next to Moldova, Romania, Bulgaria. Okay. Istanbul, right? Here's Crimea. Okay. And then Georgia. Okay. And then Turkey is right here. Okay. For some reason, I literally thought, thank you. I thought Ukraine was like up here. It's not. I was so incorrect. I apologize. Okay. So here's Ukraine. Okay. And obviously this Russia goes down here. Russia used to be all of this at times. They took parts of this and they gave it, war. Okay. But they're fighting over this right here. They want the Ukraine back. They don't want it to be, there's Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, which of course, back in the day, 007 from Russia with Love was from Kyiv, because it was Russia, right? It was part of the USSR. So they're slowly trying to take this back. But if you look here and look up here, here's Belarus, okay? And then you go up here, all of this that used to just be ice, 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 baby, all the time. Okay, we can see most of Norway still covered because that's mountains and shit. Look at it now, guys. There are just like literally untouched. All of this up here was inaccessible. This was like, where they would send people to like go die, because it was just like fucking, Siberia and shit. Okay. This is all defrosting now. They want all these minerals. They want all this land back, and they want the minerals. Oh, I went too far. Where are you? That's Russia. We got to go back this way. They want all of this back. They want all of this beautiful Ukrainian forest. They want all of this beautiful fertile land back. Okay. Right? Poland, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. Don't think that they're not next. St. Petersburg is like, oh, we see you. We see you. Okay. Right? All of this at one time was Russia. In the same way that the Mediterranean here, okay, these guys, Italy, Croatia, all these guys, Albania, right? Greece, okay, Turkey. They've been fighting over this shit for centuries also. Okay? There's always some war going on. So let's go back here. But as you can see, it's defrosted. See, now they're trying to show how snowy it is. But you see all that ice breaking up? That's fucking up everything. Mm-hmm. Yep. What did I just say?
Warming waters around Greenland. Greenland sits at a for decades, with radar arrays here forming a vital part of America's early warning system against nuclear attack during the Cold War, and still today. The U.S. has long regarded the vast, sparsely populated island as strategically important, thanks to its location. Greenland sits at a crossroads between the U.S., Canada, the European Union, and Russia. But it's climate change and rising temperatures that have turbocharged Washington's interest. On Greenland itself, melting ice is presenting the chance to exploit the island's massive untapped natural wealth, including minerals critical to the green transition.
Yes, for all those batteries, for all the electronics, just sitting there waiting. Just waiting under that ice. Thank God for global warming. We're going to have that stuff, soon enough. Yeah, Donna, we are so behind on this. It's not even funny. Yeah. Russia's been ready. They've been fucking. Russia plans 100 years in the future. Okay? because they knew they had to. They had a fucking hellscape of a goddamn country where most of it was inhabitable. And then the people who were inhabiting those sections of Russia were living in harmony with bears. Okay. If you haven't turned into Russian TikTok and seen the guys who like brush their teeth next to their pet bear, those are the people we're dealing with. We're like, oh yes, I have bear. You know, his name is Thomas. Thomas, come. Let's sit. Let's have dinner. Okay, I make dinner for me and Thomas. Hang on, and I make a steak for Thomas. Wait. Okay, I make steak for you. Okay, it's going to be good. Okay, 1 second, and then they fucking eat with the bear, like he's a member of the family and shit. Then they go, oh, we're going to wrestle. Ugh. You know, like if you are strong enough and you are brave enough to just wrestle bears for fun, then like don't fuck with those people, okay? Like this is what we're dealing with. Guys, if you have never watched the show The Americans and all these other things, those things gave us an insight into the Russian intelligence mind, okay? So they used to have, and they still have it. Hi, Putin. I know. Okay. So they set up entire little communities in these fucking Siberian places, just like they make like a little town, and they grow children there. They breed children. And from birth, those children are immersed either in the American lifestyle, speaking fully fluent, you know, American accents. They just sound, but they sound like me. They sound like me. Okay. But they also speak Russian. They speak multiple languages. Okay. And they are immersed in American culture. They're watching American TV. They know the slang. They know all the things. Okay. And then when they reach an important age where they can be inserted into American society without, you know, like looking weird, you know, college and things like that, they are then shuffled off. They do this for every country. They insert them into Italy. They insert them into China. They insert them everywhere they motherfucking can to play the long game, to have that person go to college, get a degree, become a lawyer, become a congressperson, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Russia plays the long game. Of course, they have ports waiting for the fucking ice to melt in Greenland. Probably 200 years ago, they were like, yes, one day we will have this in the, I believe, strong belief there's something pretty under that. And I'm going to take it. But we have to wait like maybe 200-300 years. So, you know, my great-grandkids, they will take it. And yeah, we'll make borscht. Like Russians are patient motherfuckers. And they are not to be fucked with or trifled with. Respect them. Yeah, you should watch Salt. Salt's fucking brilliant. One of fuck. There's only one name popping into my head. It's the wrong name. Please help me. Angelina Jolie, one of her best films, Salt. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's finish this up here.
Warming waters around Greenland and in the Arctic Ocean beyond are also opening up new shipping lanes and new areas for gas and oil drilling.
Shipping lanes, gas and oil drilling. Money, 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 money. Money. It's always about money. And it's not money you and I are going to get. It's money for the super oligarchs of Earth to keep us under control, to fucking take every last drop of resources this planet has to offer. And then when the Earth is dying and like violently rejecting humanity as fast as she can so that she might continue to live and not end up like Mars, those fucks are going to take off in their goddamn fucking rocket ships to Mars to go terraform that shit and restart that planet. And the cycle never ends. The cycle never ends. In my personal opinion, I think we've just been bouncing back and forth between here and Mars for the last, million years. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
That's attracted Russian and Chinese interest as well. Denmark welcomed the news that the Vances would only visit the airbase, seen as a de-escalation. But it's
So they thought, okay, you guys are just going to go there. It's fine with us. Just go to your space.
unlikely that Greenlanders have heard the last about U.S. interest in their territory.
Marcus Valentin is a journalist from the Greenlandic Broadcasting Corporation, KNR, and he's joining us now from the capital, Nuuk. Welcome, Marcus. Can I ask you, how do Greenlanders feel about this visit from the US Vice President?
Well, the initial reaction was a shock if this was an escalation attempt.
Someone should help him.
As we've seen that he will only visit the Beaverton space base, there's been...
I feel bad for this guy. He's got a whole green screen set up behind him, but he didn't zoom his camera in and then put on a background. So we're just seeing him in his Greenland apartment with a green screen clipped on there. Honey, you got to tuck your collar in. I'm having such a mom moment right now. What are you using whipped cream for? Oh, you just noticed there was none upstairs, so it was a whipped cream emergency. DEFCON 10, there's no whipped cream upstairs in the upstairs fridge, guys. Come down to the downstairs fridge and get some because it's 1 o'clock. It's 12:30. It's whipped cream o'clock for the teens at spring break. Okay. Breaking news. No whipped cream was located in our upstairs fridge, but some has been located in the downstairs reserves because we are lesbians and we have everything in reserve. Okay, moving on.
In a sigh of relief among the population up here because the demonstrations are now called off. It is also, there's a feeling of proudness that all the hard work from the different Greenlanders wanting to make mass protests and the politicians trying to get Trump to back off his plans and J.D. Vance to back off his plans has finally, in some sort of way, worked where they are de-escalating the conflict, at least in the short term, because when I talk to international experts in international politics through the Arctic, they say that this is sort of an escalation also in the long term.
And look at them leaving.
There are reports
so quickly,
of US officials
like,
going door to door in Greenland to try and find some residents who are prepared to give J.D. Vance and his wife a warmer welcome. Can you confirm that happened?
I can confirm that happened. I have some sources.
So they did try to find any Greenlander who'd be like, could you just maybe like sit down for 5 minutes and have like, a cup of tea? You guys could like hold a fish together or something, just for a quick photo, just like a smile.
That was planning the visit, that was trying to set up some visits and have gotten rejections from everywhere. And we have also heard from different vendors here in Nuuk that people came up to them and said that they wanted to make a PR stunt. They wanted Usha to come and have this beautiful visit where they said, well, she can enter as a guest and pay a ticket just like everyone else. And
so they wanted to do a PR stunt, but they're like, if she wants to come in, she's going to buy a ticket. She's going to buy this shit. We're not giving her anything for free.
And as far as I've heard, they weren't interested in that.
All right. Do you know if there was any outreach by the US, any attempt at all to coordinate this visit with the Greenlandic or Danish authorities at all?
I'm not aware of if there has been any official talks. Up here in Greenland, we know that there are some people, American citizens, that has worked alongside the administration to invite them to Greenland as a private visit. But as far as how much of an attempt they've had in cooperating with the Greenlandic and the Danish government, it's hard to say. But we know from the Greenlandic politicians, at least, that they are not. They have expressed to the U.S. officials that they are not welcome in Greenland because a coalition government is still in the talks, or were still in the talks. It is now being presented later today here in Nuuk, a new government. But it is seen as, from the Greenlandic perspective, as not a good move from the U.S. to come when there isn't a functioning government.
Right. I mean, Greenland.
Yeah.
Acting Prime Minister apparently called this trip a provocation, a demonstration of power, and asked the international community to step up. What do you think he's expecting from the international community?
That's very, very difficult to answer because, as we've seen so far, there's been harsh rhetoric from the Greenlandic side, and also the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, has chimed in on that and has amped up her rhetoric. We know that the Danish government has been in UN in these couple of days and also talked with other state leaders, and we know in Denmark that they are working as much as possible to get a solution on this and trying to talk, especially with the European partners. But just
really
what it is that the Greenlandic politicians want the other nations to do and actually show in support of Greenland is not very clear as of yet. But when the new government is the new government coalition is signed later today in Nuuk, and a new government is soon formally formed, I think we will know pretty soon what it is that the Greenlandic government will expect from the rest of the world.
Donald Trump says the US needs Greenland for its national security. He said, quote, America will go as far as we have to go to gain control of the island. And then we've got the Danish Prime Minister saying Greenland is part of the
And that is what Trump has said. We will go as far as we have to go to get Greenland. And the Danish Prime Minister is like, bet.
Danish kingdom, that is not going to change. What do the Greenlanders say, Marcus?
There's hardly any Greenlanders up here that wants to be part of the US. There is a minority of Greenlanders that want to have a closer ties with the US. And a lot of Greenlanders up here, especially up until recently, wants closer economic ties with the US, both in minerals, mining, natural resources, but also in fishing and other trading goods that Greenland can provide. Because Greenlanders have this saying, we are open for business. They don't really discriminate against who they want to work with and trade with, and they see US as a huge trading partner and a huge possibility to have more trade with the US. But in the last couple of weeks, as far as how that will change now, as of Donald Trump saying that he wants to annex the country and will go as far as he will, as far as he can to annex the country, this can change. But we're all waiting for the new government to be formed and to see what policies they will implement afterwards.
Now, that's not the one I want to go to. Okay. Here we go. So this is a little bit of what happened beforehand.
Hey guys, how we doing? Please, at ease. At ease. Good Lord, sit down and eat. Sit down and eat. Don't let the Vice President stop you guys from getting your chow here. How we doing?
Hi guys.
It's cold as shit here. Nobody told me.
It's cold as shit here. What the fuck? Okay, so here's some pictures from the protests that happened prior to the trip. They're marching. We're not for sale. No means no. Rallies were also taking place in other towns. Okay, so video footage showed crowd gathered in the capital of Nuuk, waving Greenland's flag and holding signs with a message such as "Respects Greenland's sovereignty," "We are not for sale," and "Make America go away." People came out, guys. It's winter in Greenland. Winter. Okay? We want to be ourselves, and our autonomy and our freedom will never be put up for debate. Okay? There is not the slightest chance that I will talk to Trump about Greenland becoming part of the United States. Speaking to the Greenlandic newspaper on Saturday, he called the U.S. president's approach completely unacceptable. Here he is holding a rally. Okay. This is a meeting that he had with somebody else that he was like, I need Greenland. Okay. Lawmakers in Greenland have vehemently opposed Trump's plans to make the island part of the U.S. Okay. They issued Friday, that's today, 5 parties in Greenland's parliament issued a joint statement rejecting Trump's comments. We, all party chairmen, cannot accept the repeated statements on an annexation and control of Greenland. We, as party chairmen, find the conduct unacceptable to friends and allies in a defense alliance. They are pissed. They pissed off these people. Now, oh, God. We have 2 other major things going on here, guys, that I want to touch on. I had to talk to my mom. I got to meet up with her today. We're going to flip from Greenland really quickly. This is going to be a flip, but this is what's happening right now, guys, okay? If you are collecting Social Security or you know someone who's collecting Social Security and they are not electronically inclined, please listen to this. We need to help our seniors get enrolled in the new program online, which is what I will be doing, spending a lot of my day today, trying to help my mom navigate this system from Oregon. Here we go.
Must receive benefits from the Social Security Administration. The vast majority are those who have retired. Now, all eyes are on the agency as it makes changes, including requiring in-person identity verification for those who cannot do so online. All of this has some
in-person identity verification for people who cannot do so online. Some of the people who cannot do so online because they don't even have fucking internet, okay? Do not drive. We need to help our grandparents out. We need to help our parents out. We need to help people who are disabled on Social Security out to verify that they're still eligible via this new system, okay?
Offices around the country are expected to close. More on the story from NBC7's Dana.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're closing offices so that those who have to verify in person may not even have an office in their town, county, or state.
Williams.
On a quick search on my phone, there are fewer than 12 Social Security offices within the county that people can go in person to. Some of the
fewer than a dozen. This is in San Diego.
Concerns are if more people have to go in person, how long will the wait times be? How far out will they have to make appointments? And then there's a whole other aspect when it comes to dealing with technology to make those appointments.
I do all my bills and all that stuff online. Some of these people, I still have a friend who drives to gas and electric places to pay and stuff.
Nancy.
She still has a friend who drives to the gas company to hand them a check on the 1st.
Birch says she's one of the few. She had a lengthy career as a computer programmer.
And technology, me being a programmer and all, technology is outrunning me, and it's hard enough for me. And I wonder how regular people do it.
It's her first thought when you ask about people navigating their Social Security benefits.
Yeah, it's stressful enough.
Typically, those who receive Social Security include retired workers who are 62 or older, those who have a disability that prevents them from working, or survivors of relatives who died.
Okay, sometimes that includes small children, minors, who are receiving the Social Security benefits of their deceased parent.
And had paid Social Security taxes. If you're in those groups and you don't have one already, now's the time to make a My Social Security account. It's an online portal, and starting March 31st, anyone who isn't able to or chooses not to verify their identity through that platform will need to make an appointment.
Starting Monday. If you have not done that, you're going to have to make an appointment to go to a physical location which may or may not exist anymore. So please, I'm begging you, it's Friday. Okay, it's Friday the 28th. If you know somebody who is on Social Security, please help them. Go to their home, bring your laptop, whatever, do it from your home, call them up, get the info, help them have this account. Okay, we need to help our seniors out. This is a red alert.
In person to do so.
Not everybody can do it. Not everybody wants to do it, and I don't blame them.
My mom doesn't want to do it, but I'm going to help her.
He says this is a way to ensure people aren't taking advantage of the system and the right people are being paid the right amount.
The right people are being paid the right amount.
It also comes as the Department of Government Efficiency plans to close Social Security offices nationwide. On the agency's website.
See, look at. They're going to close the Carlsbad location there in San Diego, home of Legoland. Total savings, $0. Look at all those savings we're getting, guys.
Listen office in Carlsbad is the only location in California to close, but it's caused some confusion as the only nearby office to that is actually within the city of Oceanside. If that one closes, the only option for residents in North County would be in San Marcos.
Yeah, if there's...
Like, what the fuck?
10,000 more people have to go to that office. Yeah, it could be a problem.
Even now, people are having to wait nearly a month to get in.
Maybe like 3 or 4 weeks out. It wasn't like...
They're making this woman standing with a walker stand outside and wait.
Super obvious how to set up the appointment here, yeah.
Adding to the already mounting stress
big time
of changes on the horizon.
At the same time, you're worrying about how to do Medicare.
Dana Williams, NBC7.
Jesus Christ on a cracker. And if that weren't bad enough, Arkansas has started The Handmaid's Tale. They've introduced a bill in Arkansas that could ban hairdressers from giving gender non-conforming haircuts to minors. This is not a joke. This is a real thing. Gender non-conforming, meaning if a young lady wants to have short hair, she may not have that. And if a boy wants to have long hair, he will be made to cut his hair short. The Handmaid's Tale, guys, is happening in Arkansas. This is the first, I predict, of many bills that will go via the states like wildfire to prevent people. Forget about gender non-conforming, okay? Forget about LGBTQ, LGBTQ, forget about all of this. if a human being wants to have short or long hair, they should be allowed to have that short or long hair. Period. The end. It's my body. It's my fucking hair. Okay? So while we're all outraged about Signalgate, we're all outraged about Greenland, Arkansas is steadying the charge to erase people's ability to look the way they want. Do not get it twisted, guys. We get all this sparkly shit, okay, to erase the true agenda that's happening, which is fascism across this country, okay? There was a thing that came up in my feed. Where'd it go here? Where do you go now? There was a man who wrote a book. No, that's not what I want. That's none of that is what I want. Please do the right thing for me right now. Please help me. Please help me. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this is an exclusive interview that just happened. Okay. Let's go here so you guys can see it. This is Christine Amanapour. I'm always going to say her name wrong. I apologize. She's interviewing the author, How Fascism Works, Jason Stanley. He's leaving the United States. He wrote a book called How Fascism Works, guys, and he's literally fleeing to Canada. Let's listen to his statement.
To challenge and redefine academic freedom. And our next guest is sounding the alarm. Yale professor Jason Stanley is the author of Erasing History, How Fascists Rewrite the Past to Control the Future. And he joins Michelle Martin now to discuss how new teaching guidelines are stoking a culture of fear and why he's taking drastic measures as a result.
Thanks, Christiane. Professor Jason Stanley, thanks so much for talking with us once again.
Thank you, Michelle. It's great to be in conversation in this existential time.
So you've been thinking about and writing about authoritarianism for quite a while. You recently wrote a piece for The Guardian in which you said that President Trump is leading the country down the path of educational authoritarianism. What does that mean?
That means that he's creating a culture of fear in universities. They already have done this in states like Florida, creating a culture of fear in K through 12 education. But authoritarianism requires a culture of fear. It requires feeling like the state is always looking over your shoulder, feeling like there are vague rules that you can be punished for, and your fellow citizens have been empowered to report you. That's the first thing it means. The second thing it means is that there's an official state ideology. And if you violate the official state ideology, you get in trouble.
What sparked your latest piece for The Guardian was this Dear Colleague letter that the Department of Education issued, the Office of Civil Rights issued on February 14th. It was a letter to American educational institutions, and it essentially reinterpreted federal civil rights law. Let me just read a little bit of it. It said that educational institutions have toxically indoctrinated students with the false premise that the United States is built upon systemic and structural racism and advanced discriminatory policies and practices.
That's absolutely true.
And that proponents of these discriminatory practices have attempted to further justify them, particularly during the last 4 years, under the banner of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, smuggling racial stereotypes and explicit race consciousness into everyday training, programming, and discipline. So first of all, your reaction to this, and tell us why you were so concerned about this, that you said that this is what is the sign that is the intention of the administration to move toward this path.
Well, the Dear Colleague letter announces that it's the intention of the administration to move towards this path. And in Linda McMahon's final mission statement of the Department of Education, she mentions patriotic education as sort of the goal here of to impose on K through 12 and universities. So the problem here is that the United States is founded and built upon systematic racism and inclusion. It's part of our founding documents that that we wanted to take more indigenous land. So slavery, the United States is built on slavery. There's no factual argument about that. So when you begin by saying that universities and K through 12 schools are not allowed to teach facts, then you're already on a very problematic playing field. Again, part of the point of these guidelines is to be vague because it allows wide latitude to target professors and to encourage students to report professors for anything that might suggest that the United States was not always the greatest nation on earth and was essentially free from sin.
Is part of the issue here because to take it from the other direction, conservatives would say that progressives or non-conservatives, whatever you want to say, are just mad because they're offering an alternative ideology, that they're replacing one ideology with another. And that, I think their argument is elections have consequences and they get to do that. Like, what do you say to that?
There's no such thing. I mean, in a democracy, the state cannot impose a required patriotic ideology. I mean,
Correct.
Universities are not there in a democracy to stoke egos of the citizens of a country. Just imagine what your cartoon vision of an authoritarian country. It's where the purpose of schools is to tell students to love their country and not question it.
That's an authoritarian country, guys. What is happening in America right now? We are getting "In God We Trust" put everywhere. We are getting fucking, statues of the 10 Commandments all over the place. We are getting God, 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 God being repeated over and over and over. Guys, history lesson for those of you out there who are American citizens, okay? When did "under God" get added to the Pledge of Allegiance? Anyone? Anyone know the year? Anyone? June 22nd, 1942. Okay. Let's do a history. I'm going to pull it up here. Let's add this in here. We'll go back to this interview here in a second. Okay. This is from Gilderman.org, Gilder-Lehrman Institute of American History. Okay. So, Pledge of Allegiance adopted on Congress on this day, June 22nd. Okay, let me make that bigger for you guys. Hang on. Boop. Actually, let's go here. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The words of the Pledge of Allegiance, okay, that was adopted in 1942. Okay. Look at how these kids are saluting here. 5th graders. This is how they would do it. That is interesting. Okay. But originally in 1892, the pledge is introduced in the magazine, The Youth's Companion, as part of a program to celebrate Columbus Day. Fucking colonist bastard in schools in 1892 across the country. The words were written by Francis Bellamy, a Baptist minister and Christian socialist. Oh, interesting. And read, I pledge allegiance to my flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Then in 1923, okay, the National Flag Conference, sponsored by the American Legion and the Daughters of the American Revolution, those fucking bitches, changed my flag to the flag of the United States of America, in part to ensure that recent immigrants to the U.S. had the U.S. flag in mind and not the flag of their nation of origin. Congress formally recognizes the pledge and introduces it in the federal code. And then they changed it. One hand extended from the body was too reminiscent because they wanted everybody to do this. So they put the right hand is extended gracefully, palm upward. This is my right hand, palm upward toward the flag. So you're supposed to extend it like this, right? In 1954, Eisenhower approved, 1954 was a presidential resolution adding under God. Knights of Columbus and other groups, as well as Eisenhower, had lobbied for the change. So the original pledge back in 1892, I pledge allegiance to my flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. By 1954, okay, 60, I'm doing math. 8 plus 4 is 12. 62 years later, right after World War II, At the start of the Cold War, we put under God. Under God was not a part of America until the 1950s. We were not a nation under God. We were not pledging to be under God. We had nothing to do with under God when the pledge was created. We used to pledge like this, but that's too close to the Nazi salute. So then the kids did this. It's like a weird salute to your heart. And now we just do this. Your hand on your heart. But we used to do this, but Hitler did this. So we couldn't do that. So we do this. Okay. We never pledged to be under God. The founders never asked us to pledge to be under God. Dwight Eisenhower did that.
In a democracy, universities are there to teach the facts. They're not there to breed patriotism.
Thank you. Universities are there to teach facts, not to breed patriotism.
These documents explicitly tell us the purpose of schools and universities is to create patriotic citizens.
Is that what we voted for, guys? Is that what y'all voted for, Trumpers? For schools and universities to create patriotic citizens? I didn't.
That is not the purpose of university. That's nationalist education. That is not democratic education.
No, let's go to China and just be, fucking Chinese then. Like that's what they're doing there.
What they've been doing by banning critical race theory, which is essentially banning Black history, because you're
right. Now, Black history is critical race theory, guys.
banning the study of institutions that developed under slavery and Jim Crow that have repercussions today. So you're banning that with these vague guidelines. They say we're not banning that, but the guidelines are so vague that you would be foolish to test whether or not it's really banning that. So
what's your evidence of that, though? What's your evidence that that is the case? Because I think other people might look at that and say, well, they're vague. That means that there's room for interpretation. So why do you say that the vagueness is itself a problem?
Well, a conservative intellectual in a New York Times article where I was also quoted said, terms like DEI are vague, so they allow us wide latitude to target people because they leave it open to interpretation, and that's the point. So we can basically target anything we want by calling it DEI. And that's what Christopher Rufo, one of the main political activists behind this strategy, said. He said, early on, we're going to call the federal bureaucracy critical race theory, and then people will want to take it.
We're going to call the federal bureaucracy critical race theory.
Down. This is evocative of the Republican Southern strategy of calling anything they don't like welfare, and then that would create negative attitudes towards it. And now the vagueness does leave room for contestation. But would you like to go in front of a school board? Would you like to go in front of a Title VI office with a lawyer to defend that in the interpretation that it does not, that your teaching about slavery or Jim Crow or mortgage redlining does not fall under these prohibited guidelines?
Okay, mortgage redlining. That's like redistricting, so people of color cannot get a loan. They can't get a loan and things like that. So they're calling that critical race theory. Anything that is negative or holds negative any portion of American history is now DEI, is now critical race theory, is bad because we cannot tell the truth about America. America is the greatest country on earth. We've always been great. We're getting greater. We're only doing great things. We've only ever been great. We cannot, no, thank you, Siri, cancel. We cannot, okay. We cannot ever tell the truth about how we got here or what we're doing. Yeah, I know. Russia's like fucking ready to go. They are ready to go, Lily. Yes. That's why I say don't fuck with those people. Yes, the rest of the world, is saying don't come here. Don't come here. If you need to travel here, be prepared for anything. Like literally, people in other countries are like, maybe don't come to the United States right now. Now, the only thing that's going to save us, guys, okay? The only thing, did they just change that date to mid-April? Well, we'll see. I'm still helping my mom today, Donna. The only thing that could possibly save America from nuclear annihilation and from becoming a completely fascist state, but actually might be turned evil and made to make it even easier, is Disneyland. Disneyland is the only corporation in our country that has special no flyover zones besides the military and secret other things. They have their own rules for fireworks, even in California, in a fucking state that's on fire 90% of the time. If the chairman of Disney were to stand up and tell Donald Trump, we're not doing this. We're not having any of these things here. Right? We're not going to do any of these things. I mean, they stood up to Florida. They stood up to fucking, all those people, right? And we're like, no, we're not going to pay your extra taxes. We're not going to do these things. Or they could have already been infiltrated, because I guarantee you the CEO and all the heads of Disney, they voted for Trump because they thought, oh, I'm going to get lower taxes. This is going to be great. The stock market's going to be great. I'm going to fucking be great. But if tourists from around the world cannot safely travel to Anaheim and to Orlando, Florida, to rake in the billions of dollars they make daily, they're going to have something to say about it. They're going to have something to say about it. They are not going to allow everything to go away unless they get a piece of the pie. So it's very dangerous. I mean, this capitalistic bullshit. I don't know. Maybe Disneyland will now be the capital of America and Mickey Mouse is the president. I don't fucking know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only hope we have right now. This guy who wrote about fascism is packing those books and leaving.
Guidelines. That's really a distraction from your work. Legal fees are very expensive. Most teachers and professors, if not all teachers and professors, would like to avoid that.
American universities have been engines of tremendous wealth, tremendous innovation. There's a reason why people want to come from all over the world to study at these universities, including people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, because of their...
Yeah, those are two foreigners who came to our country to study at our universities because they knew we had stuff their countries did.
Role in creating private wealth through the accumulation of knowledge. So why is it that in your estimation, that these activists are so, and this administration is so sort of hell-bent on bringing universities to heel?
Yeah.
Can I be frank, Michelle?
I hope so.
Okay, here we go.
They're destroying my country. They're intentionally destroying my country. They're saying Vladimir Putin is an ally. They're taking down the federal bureaucracy. They're taking down the schools and universities to enrich the billionaire class. And then they're throwing scapegoats to the American people, to the working people, trans women, Black Americans. It's about juicing up dominant group victimhood. It's about telling white Americans, you're the real victims. And once we target all the people who made you feel like you weren't the real victims, all the people who are making you feel guilty for inheriting your house from your parents when they couldn't inherit a house from your parents. Once we do that, then everything's good for you and we can dismantle the country. That's what's going on. And starting out with the universities is vital.
Did you guys get that? It's the victimization of white people. So that what? Just say it out loud. Just say it out loud. We're going to bring back segregation. We're going to bring back all of the golden oldies because they want to make America white again. And what's in Greenland? A lot of white people, but more people in Greenland are indigenous than white. The Danes are pretty white. Yeah. Listen up, Gunna Fawcett. If you win 180 million tonight, I need $1 million so I can get the fuck out of here. Okay, just yeah, you need to Venmo me. I'm so glad to be Australian. Yeah, no, I know Verity. I know it's affecting everywhere. But I'm telling you right now, this is fucking bullshit. Yeah, Wisconsin is mad as fuck. My friend lives 4 miles from Canada and they get their heating, gas, and electric from Canada. There's no U.S. grid near them. She will have their utility costs skyrocket and maybe lose it. Yeah, she's going to have to get some off-grid shit. She's going to have to switch to like propane tanks and get that shit trucked in, man. I feel bad for her. Oh, Gunna Fawcett, I love you. Thank you.
You take down the universities. You tell people universities are just for job skills. They're not democratic institutions anymore. And then, so you encourage people not to go, and you encourage people not to go to universities. You make student loans more difficult, more expensive, privatize them, and then you delegitimize the university.
One of the things that you talk about is the fact that Columbia University is a source of particular ire to this administration. And also to, let's say, members of Congress who made a point of making a pilgrimage to the university to to express their outrage at what they consider to be anti-Semitic demonstrations that started in the wake of Israel's war on Gaza. Columbia agreed to a list of Trump demands in order to reinstate some $400 million in federal funding that the administration revoked.
So Trump took away $400 million in federal funds to Columbia University because they allowed students to exercise their First Amendment right to protest. Their First Amendment right to protest. Trump said, "Not today, Satan. You don't get that money." And so they had to negotiate with a literal terrorist. They had to negotiate with a literal fascist dictator who is holding the office of the President of the United States right now, the Cheeto-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. This is insane. They are convincing people not to go to college right now, and they are inflating student loans. They just took the student loans and put them in the Small Business Association. All right? Our kids' future is fucked. They do not want people educated. And our universities are going to be closing because people cannot afford to go there. They will not get federal grants. Education will be gone here. It's going to be homeschool USA and the approved homeschooling, right? We're going to save so much money. That's going to go where? Am I getting a rebate? Am I going to get paid now for teaching my children? Is that how it's going to work? I'll take it. Give me a fucking paycheck, right? This is going to be Sparta. Like, it is not good.
As they said, for punishment for Columbia's failure to protect its Jewish students. So let me ask you about this, because the reality of it is there are a lot of Jewish students at Columbia who did feel threatened and demeaned by these demonstrations. True. So some people are looking at this and they say that this is kind of an outrageous capitulation on Columbia's part, but other people are saying, well, maybe this was just a pragmatic step to try to survive this era. What do you think?
There were a tremendous number of Arab students who felt incredibly threatened at Columbia. Yes. What about them? They're people too, first. Secondly, at Yale, and I'm sure this was true of Columbia, there were a very large number of Jewish students in those protests, because who on campus cares the most about the behavior of Israel? Well, one group are Jewish students. But the way the administration is using the term anti-Semitism is synonymous with leftism, which is ironic. Correct. Because the large majority of Jewish Americans voted for Kamala Harris, comparable to Black Americans. But the administration is using the term anti-Semitism as short for leftism. So Jewish Americans like me, who are highly critical of Israel, I don't know what the phrase right to exist means, but I'm not, I don't want to take down the state of Israel. I'm some kind of Zionist. However, I'm very critical of the behavior of the state of Israel. And there were plenty of students. It was tied for the largest identity group in the protests. So why don't they count as Jewish? Well, the administration is saying there are good Jews and bad Jews. And good Jews are the ones who support Israel's actions in Gaza. And
that's right, guys. If you're Jewish and you don't support Netanyahu genociding the people of Gaza, then you're a bad Jew. If you're not a Zionist Jewish person, then you're a bad Jew. They're making it very simple. You're either with the program or you're not. And if you're not with the program, we have a very special little symbol we'd like you to put on. And also, he made a great statement. The Arab people were also fucking afraid, who were, Palestinian, Muslims, and they were also under death threat. Protesting is not violence. Okay? Getting to speak your mind and speak out for what you want is not violence. I've had people in my own neighborhood who are Palestinian who used to proudly fly their Palestine flag. Take it down. Why would they have to take that down? I didn't want them to take it down. I didn't feel threatened by them. I didn't feel upset that I have Palestinian neighbors. Did they think I was a Zionist? Did they think I saw the flag and now I don't like them? It's insane to me that people cannot fly Ukrainian flags in some places because they're getting fucking attacked for that too. In America. In America. It's totally nuts, guys. We live in the upside down.
And bad Jews are the people like me who are highly critical of what is happening and push for Palestinian rights because Palestinians deserve every bit of political equality that Jewish people deserve.
You argue that the Trump administration is using the pretext of Jewish safety to justify crackdowns on dissent and critical scholarship. And you actually have said that you think this actually reinforces anti-Semitic tropes.
Yes, it absolutely does.
So can you say more about that?
This is reinforcing anti-Semitic tropes all across the political spectrum. What are the most toxic anti-Semitic tropes? Well, Jews control the institutions. This is absolutely reinforcing this. Any young American is going to think, remember what happened when they took down the world's greatest university system on behalf of Jewish safety? And this will go down in history books. The history of this era will say that Jewish people were the sledgehammer for fascism.
I don't think there's any lies told there.
So if we don't speak out, if we American Jews do not speak out against this, this will be a grim history chapter in our history as Americans. It's the first time in my life as an American that I've been fearful of our status as equal Americans, not because of the protests on campus, which, as I said, had a lot of Jewish students in them, but because we are suddenly at the center of politics, of U.S. politics. It's never good to be in the crosshairs for us. And we
No. Jewish people have never benefited once from being in anyone's crosshairs, period.
Are being used to destroy democracy. The history books are going to be harsh unless we Jewish Americans can say this should not be done in our name. And finally, by focusing on us, they're erasing the atrocities and horrors that are happening in Gaza. And they're shifting the true victims here, not just Palestinians who are here, but the victims in Gaza and the West Bank of the Israeli government's policies.
Well, then, I have two questions here. First of all, why do you think that Columbia has agreed to these terms, including, banning face masks and empowering campus police officers to remove people from campus or arrest them if needed? Why would Columbia, which is not a poor institution, agree to these terms?
Two reasons. First of all, there are people within the Columbia structure who are essentially betraying Columbia. They agree with this ideological attack. I think that is really problematic. They're not seeing it. They're in fact traitors to their own institutions. So that's one point. The second point is that Columbia is completely bending to an authoritarian regime. And what we're seeing across universities, Michelle, is we're seeing this culture of fear, this idea that if we just do what they say.
So let's just go back real quick here to Trump's truth from March 4th. This is what he posted earlier this month in March, okay? All federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protests. There's no such thing as an illegal protest. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country from which they came. And this is talking specifically about people who were from other countries. They were from Palestine. They were from, other Muslim countries that were protesting Israel. Okay. American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. No masks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Why does he not want masks? Why does he not want masks, guys? You and I both know the answer to that question, because in today's Big Brother world, there is facial recognition everywhere. Our phones do it. If you're looking at your phone, just gazing upon it, doing your scrolling, did you know that on average, an iPhone scans your face every 5 seconds or something like that? I have to get the exact statistic. But if you are there scrolling your phone, your facial profile, your biometrics are being recorded everywhere you go, on your phone, on my computer right now, through every security camera that you walk by. My neighborhood is one network of Amazon Rings, guys. Everybody's got one. You are being recorded everywhere you go. Your biometrics are there. So if you wear a mask, they cannot see who's there. If you do decide to go protest, okay, if you do decide to go protest, my recommendation to you is leave your smartphone at home. Leave your smartphone at home, kids. Get yourself a burner so you have a way to talk to people if you need some help. Leave your smartphone at home. Leave your smartwatch at home. Leave all smart devices at home and cover your face as much as you can. Okay? Because everyone is watching. Everyone is tracking you. Same advice goes if you go to another country. Leave your fucking iPhones, your fucking Samsung phones, all that shit. Leave it at home. Do not turn it on. In another country, get a fucking camera and use that. Okay? These are the times that we're living in, that you are being tracked literally everywhere you go. You got to be safe. You got to be safe. Where did my guy go? Here's my guy. Here we go.
Everything will be okay. But I'm seeing this everywhere, and it's one reason that I am probably leaving the United States to the University of Toronto.
Really? Is that? I was going to ask, what are your thoughts about your own course here? So you feel strongly enough about this that you are going to leave the country?
Yes. Because I would not do this if I saw all of our universities banding together. But it's not just the universities, Michelle. It's the law firms. It's all of our American institutions. When Paul and Weiss capitulated, the part of the reason they capitulated is other law firms, instead of defending them, were going after their clients. Now, we see universities saying things, including my university, like, we're going to keep our head down so we're not targeted. As soon as I heard that vocabulary, I knew sort of, it might be that the game is over, because you're not banding together if you say, we're going to keep our head down.
So I want to get back to you, though. You're leaving.
This is his book. I just put the link in there.
To the United States, my home, in a heartbeat, and I hope, and that's why I'm saying I'm probably moving to Canada, because I might return to Yale if they essentially allow.
This guy's a Yale professor, guys. Let's just let that sink in. Yale, okay, Yale professor who wrote the book. Let me go back to my Sherzies tab. He wrote the book here. How Fascism Works: The Politics of Us and Them. Okay, it's from 2020. Go get it. I put the link in the chat. Okay. This man, who's a professor at Yale University. For those of you guys who are not from America, Yale is one of the singularly hardest universities to get in the world, in America. It's one of the most prestigious universities that we have in America. It has a long-standing tradition of delivering great scholars, lawyers, etc. Okay. He's leaving America because the things that he wrote in his book are coming true. Okay. That is what we're dealing with. We've got Arkansas issuing haircut orders, which will, guys, if you think that that's not going to happen in your state, think again. Okay, this is the same shit when people are like, they'll never overturn Roe versus Wade. Where's that? They'll never get rid of Social Security. What's happening right now? Okay, it is happening. Fascism is happening in America. We are being turned very rapidly into a fascist regime. Okay. Yes, that's the one I want. Do not forget, you can always check in to see our progress on the Project 2025 tracker. We're 42% to full fascism. 42%. As you can see, USAID done. Department of State, 89% done. The White House, 88% done. Personnel, that's OPM, 67% done. The Agency for Global Media, we're at 67%. Department of Defense, 62%. Justice, 61%. The EPA, 58%. Where's the Department of Education? Oh, look at that, guys. 50% done on the Department of Education. Just banging right along here. Who hasn't even started yet? Oh, we haven't started on the FDA, the FTC, the SBA, right? The NIH, the Federal Reserve. What are the two objectives in the Federal Reserve, y'all? Eliminate the Federal Reserve mission of full employment. Abolish the Federal Reserve and move to a free banking system. Abolish the Federal Reserve. I got so mad I went off the page. We have 1,393 days left of this presidency, 20 hours, 45 minutes, and 23 seconds until the end of the world. I don't know. We are at day what day are we in? Oh. 1 second, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to wrap it up on this note. We're not even 100 days in to Trump's presidency. This is where we're at. Guys, we gotta stand up. We gotta fight. Gotta stand up and gotta fight. Go click the links here. Click that link. Go get some merch. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all the things. Please subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. Get subscribed. Like, if you're on the replay, I love you. Let's keep fighting, guys. We can do this. Thank you, as always, to my mods. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We got to stand up. We got to make our voices heard here in America. Don't delay. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, subscribe, become a member, hit up my link tree, and I'll see you guys next time.